All right, everybody, thank you for coming for tonight's meeting. We'll be discussing the budget in a couple of minutes. At this point, it's a couple minutes after 7. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Say hi to Mia for us, Joanne.
We have special guests tonight.
Yes.
That's Tito, the carrot kid. All right, go. Brush your hair.
All right, we have one item on the agenda, is the budget tonight. Public comment followed by discussion of the budget. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Kate. All in favor of approving the agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, I will open the floor to public comments. Again, as specified in the agenda, please limit your comments to budget-related items.
Hey, Bob, this is Dave.
Yes, Dave, go ahead.
Quick question, as a general rule, did all the departments come back with a pretty flat budget from last year?
I'm sorry, Dave, did all other departments come back with what?
With a flat budget from last year for the most part?
For the most part. I mean, what we're building into the budgets are salary increases across the departments. And a few departments went up we're still looking at some of them, but for pretty legitimate reasons, I feel.
We should be pretty close to last year, hopefully.
Yes, it should be. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
got to keep in mind a big chunk of our budgets are insurance. And that's projected to go up anywhere from, like our health insurance, 3.5% to 8.5%.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my reaction to it. But the things we can control, we pretty much have kept even.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other comments? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public discussion session. Let's move on to the discussion on the budget. Basically, as I explained to Dave, a lot of the department budgets came in flat with the exception of we built in expected salary increases, cost of living increases. This is a year when we're going to be doing union negotiations, both contracts. And I know from last year when we did the 1-year kicker on the contracts because of COVID, the contracts normally would have been renewed last year or negotiated for another 3. The unions were not at all open to absolutely no salary increase. So we've built some increase in the budget and we've got contingency if it turns out to be otherwise. My suggestion for what we do tonight and how we go forward, and I'll put this out, of course, for our fellow selectmen to comment on, is we do have a number of the department budgets that are flat, again, allowing for the increase, accepting for the increase in salaries. I recommend we take a quick look at those and just deal with those tonight. Kate, Sean, I know you've had some time, but not a lot to look at the budget. If you've got any particular questions, we can raise those tonight. And we also ought to take a look at which departments and or agencies we'd particularly like to call in so we can schedule them for follow-on meetings next week.
This is Sean. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, I just, the whole thing looks relatively, not too bad of an increase. I just had a couple of questions, and one of them's already been answered. Like the attorney's fees, I was going to ask: is this a negotiation year? And I forgot that we had put negotiations off for a year, so that makes some sort of sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And the overall council budget, you'll see, was flat. All I did is reallocate money from the general council because our expenses have been somewhat lower this year, and I expect that will continue, and move some of that funding to the labor attorney, but the overall attorney fees line remains the same.
Yeah. All right.
And this is Kate. Yep, Bob, I totally agree with your process on how to move forward. When I looked at the budgets earlier this week, I think I really only saw two that stuck out as would want to meet with them: Public Works and then the HK Rec Authority, not our local Park and Rec.
Okay.
Although actually I hadn't seen their budget yet, so maybe I'll add them to my list too.
This is Sean. Kate, I'm on this pretty much the same page with that. Those are the two that I was looking at. Just a couple of questions here or there.
And that was HK Rec you wanted to meet with? Kate, this is Bob.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
HK Rec Authority.
Yeah, the other one that I think we should meet with is there was a significant increase in the requests from the Ambulance Association.
Okay.
Primarily, I think almost all of it had to do with the contract, negotiating contract fees for the company that provides the daytime and some of the evening shift coverage, but I think Doug should come in and talk to us about that.
Okay. And this is Kate, Bob. I actually have a question too. I know the board received letters probably a few months ago from the election, like our registrar of voters,
Right.
with a request, and who would approve that? Are they part of the union, or would that get approved by the selectmen?
That would be approved by the selectmen. Well, and then, the
Okay.
normal process. We would approve it, Board of Finance would approve it, and of course, all of it ultimately goes to a town meeting for the town approval.
Okay, so is that, and Sean, do you know I think, because I don't remember how much, but it was a request to increase the per hour pay for the registrars, and I think the assistant registrars as well. So is that something we would determine in conjunction with this budget?
Yes.
This is Sean. I thought I did see a request increase in their budget line. I'm trying to find it now on the computer, but I think they did ask for an increase. That was,
Yeah, there is.
and I assume it was due to the salary increase that we had spoke about.
Sean, that's correct. Their budget line item number is, I had it just a minute
020.
ago.
Yeah, they're up at the top, 020.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, 020. Thank you, Kate. And you'll see the salaries increase there.
On the side is slow, so it's the older one.
That's all right. My internet connection here in Haddam Neck is a little better than a string in a tin can, so.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the election wages went up $3,000. I think that's where it went. Yeah.
All right, why don't we start at the top and look through the individual line items? See if there are any questions and then approve or defer as we move along. So we can start. The first one is 010, Selectmen line. As you can see, increases, as you'll see throughout, their salaries were increased. Other changes in that, we had a line for receptionist wages. We're really using that money for overtime, fill-in coverage, and also for enhanced cleaning due to COVID, and which really meshes with what we cover with the town office TOB coverage a little farther down. So the change you'll see there is just that 8,000 from receptionist wages has been zeroed, and that 8,000 has been moved to the town office building coverage. So there's no change in dollar amount. It's just change in what subline it's reflected on.
Okay, that's actually in my notes from going through it this morning. That was one of my questions on that. So why is such an increase on town office, the TOB coverage, and that makes sense then. Thank you.
Yeah, we tried to clean up some of the lines as we're going through this. That obviously being one of them. But
This is Kate.
yeah, Kate.
Quick question. So, in 01 Bud Docs 2021 to 2022, the selectmen salaries, the request is 5,100, but in the standalone document, it's 2,551. So which one's the current one?
It's the 5,100. The 2,551 is a mistake in the standalone.
Okay.
The document
so-
we have approved and looked at closely, and we'll be going back over, is the 01-BUD Docs 2021 to 22, the compiled version with all of the individual sheets rolled into it.
Okay.
And there was one, the professional development, that went up, doubled from before. Now, what is that?
That's conference fees and any additional training, but that's, I don't know where you're seeing it's doubled, Sean.
Well, I'm looking from 17, 18, 18, 19, 19 and 20 was $209. And we've expended, we approved, okay, 2021, okay, so we did approve the same amount last year. Okay.
Right.
How much have we spent so far with,
Well,
are we gonna use 1,200?
Yeah, the year-to-date expenditures as of the 3rd of February is 153. But keep in mind that a lot of the conferences, meetings that one of us or all of us would be going to, didn't happen or went virtual at reduced or no fees. There was very little that was charged for. Same thing if you look at mileage, that mileage just reflects this year's budget, proposed budget, the current budget. Nothing's been spent this year, and obviously that was pandemic related.
Right. And overall, that line, the selectmen lines looks pretty good to me.
Okay.
Yep. I'm okay with the department request as is.
Okay, well, and then we have a motion to approve the 010 selectmen line as submitted.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion that we approve the 0101 line, the selectmen's line as approved or as proposed.
Okay, motion is on the floor. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, thank you, Kate. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. All right. Next one down, 011 Finance Department. That one does show more than just the 2% increase or percentage increase in salaries, but only for the finance director. Done some salary comparisons, gone out and done some research. The 78,000, which you can see in previous years, not the current, but previous years we exceeded anyway, is most appropriate for an assistant finance director, not an actual finance director for the hours we're looking for. They're looking more in for that, and we've posted it in the $85,000 to $92,000 range. And the upper end is what you see there in the department request. Other changes, professional development, it was reduced somewhat. Other items pretty much remain the same.
This is Kate, the financial office coordinator. How come it went down? And that's it's a very specific number it went down to too.
That the number that's in there, the 50,000, was based on hourly salary for the employee who's there now, how many hours is worked each week, and then, like I said, just a cushion to allow for some negotiation room. Because also you can compare it to the year-to-date expenditure. We're more than halfway through the year. And at this pace, we're not going to hit that appropriated budget amount for this year.
This is Sean. Now, when we do interview and try to get a permanent finance director, obviously we're going to try to come in at the 85.
Yep.
Okay. And our top would definitely be 92, though. Correct.
Correct.
Experience and job duties.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it was posted. I mean, initially we went out with a posting that didn't have salary, and we got basically nobody interested. And the word I got back is because there was no salary indicated. So
Now, has that been reposted again, or?
yes, it has. We put it out a couple of weeks ago. We've gotten at least a couple more candidates, and the quality of the candidates seems to be improving with the second posting.
Thank you. All right.
And any other discussion on 011 finance?
This is Kate. I make a motion to approve 011 Finance Department as submitted.
Okay. Motion is on the table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all. Motion carries unanimously. All right, next one down is very easy. It's the probate charge. The fee is remaining flat for this year. And it's
This is Sean. I'll make a motion that we approve the probate as submitted.
Okay. Any further discussion on the probate?
No.
All right, all in favor of approving the $2,661 budget? Say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, next one, 020 elections.
This is Sean. So looks like their only real increase is the wages, correct?
Correct.
All right. And we are asking more of them with more mail-in voting, correct? Or are we
Yeah.
not? No, actually, that comes out. That's actually the town clerk that gets.
The town clerk bore the most of the brunt of the increase from the mail-in. And also, this budget does not reflect the extra expenses we had this year for preparation for COVID. Because hopefully at the next election, we won't be in the middle of a pandemic.
No, Barbara can refresh me because I'm trying to remember. I know they asked for increases. What were the specific reasons for increases then?
They're asking for an increase in the hourly wage. Their wage had been stagnant apparently for a while, and they were talking about the extra duties and requirements of the job.
This is Kate. Yeah, and I think the letter, I wish I had it with me. I think it also said it was, they did a salary or a wage comparison, and they claim to be slightly underpaid compared to other relative positions. And I will say, I worked my first 2 elections last year, and the amount of work that goes into it truly is incredible, and it's hard to appreciate it if you don't witness it firsthand. And I feel like in the grand scheme of things, the wage, the increase that they're asking for is pretty minor. So I support the what I would consider a minimal increase.
And everything else looks pretty much exactly the same.
Yes.
Right.
All right. We have a motion to approve then the election 020 line.
This is Kate. I motion to approve line item 020 elections as submitted.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of approving the line at 62041, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, next line down is the 025 Board of Finance. It does show an increase. It's based on an increase in the expense for conducting the required annual audit. It's about a $3,500 increase, offset some by a decrease in salary because of decrease in time for the board secretary and eliminating the town report expenses, which will just pick up. It doesn't go beyond just the stationery and other items realistically.
If that's a fixed cost, there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the Board of Finance budget as submitted.
All right, Kate, any discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor of approving Board of Finance line 025 at 46,525, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. All right, motion carries unanimously. All right, next one up, 030 tax assessor.
So the overall went down.
Correct. Primarily due to the assistant assessor's wages. The assistant assessor is new and at a lower wage rate than predecessor, who was actually eventually certified to be an assessor.
No. The assessor salary, is that, she's not union, is she?
No, she's not.
But she, we basically go along with what the union increases were for non-union. Is that how we usually do it?
That's how we usually do it. Unless we're really financially strapped, it's just generally not a good management strategy to not reward your non-union employees at least as much as the unions do.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that. My question was more of a informational question for people that may be online listening and whatnot, so they know why there's an increase, a non-union person getting the increase. So,
Yeah, Sean, I figured you knew, and I made the answer for the same reason you asked the question. It's just a good managerial practice, and obviously, if the union increases not as much as expected, that same increase gets reflected to the non-union workers.
This is Kate. Do you know what would fall under the consultant line item? Like what kinds of things that would include? Because it looks like they haven't spent anything so far for this year.
Well, the reval pretty much covered what the consultant would. The intent there is for, particularly with the new assistant, being able to use somebody, an independent contractor, to do some of the field work. I know the town did that previously extensively, as well as some audits and spot checks on the business personal property declarations.
Okay, so that line item is typically expended more during a year when we don't have a reval. So like next year, we can expect like expenditures out of this item.
Correct.
Okay. Sean, is it my turn? I think it is. This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve 030 assessor as submitted for 133,058.
All right, further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
I'm gonna turn my camera off. Just so you know, turn the camera off. My signal's getting weak here, so I'm gonna try to hopefully.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I hear you, Sean.
All right. All right. Yeah, I started breaking up there, so it suggests I turn my camera off.
Right.
Did you ask for a vote on that or no? I couldn't hear.
Yes. Kate voted yes.
Aye.
All right, vote motion carries unanimously then. All right, next one, 035, Board of Assessment Appeals. Actually, a reduction in the budget, not that this is one of our larger budgets by any means. The current approved budget is $325 total. The request for next year going forward is $110. 10 in the secretary, pretty much a placeholder for that, and then 100 for professional development. Any discussion on this budget?
No, I don't have anything.
To enable audio controls, please enter your audio PIN followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a PIN, just press pound or hash. This conference will now be recorded.
Hey there. Let me get out of my GoToMeeting. There we go. All right.
Sean, I think you have to mute your computer. There you
No,
go.
actually, I turned that off. I don't know why it's even on. There we go. All right. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Oh,
much.
yes.
Yeah, I'm having some internet problems here. I think I must have moved to Haddam Neck.
It's God's country.
Yeah. Anyway, the last one I voted aye on that. I don't know if you could hear me.
Yes, yep,
Okay,
we're on 035 Board of Assessment Appeals.
Okay, let me get to that on my other computer here. Okay, all right. Let's see. Well, that looks easy.
Yeah. Can I have a motion to approve the $110 budget request for 035 Board of Assessment Appeals?
This is Sean. I'll make the motion. We approve the Board of Assessment Appeals as submitted.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. All right, motion carries unanimously.
All right, let's see. Okay. Next up. What's the next up's tax collector?
Yeah, the tax collector reflects a couple of increases. One is just the standard salary. The other increase, a significant one, is printing tax bills and rate book. And that was realistically just an adjustment so that line matches what we have been spending much closer, and allows for some increase in postage and other costs associated with it. I mean, if you look back to the 2017 to 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, you can see that's greater than what was even budgeted for our current year. And current year expenses, even though we're more than halfway through the year, the big expense on the tax bills gets paid in June for the initial full year tax mailing. And that obviously has not hit yet.
This is Kate. So the printing, does it have to go to like a specialty type company who specializes in printing this kind of thing? Like, do they do formatting and adjustments, or is this, we just look for a print house and send them the documents to be printed and mailed?
This is done by a specialty house,
Okay.
and unless I'm absolutely wrong, it's the same place that provides the software. So they
Okay.
do the printing and they do the mailing and then bill us accordingly.
Okay, yeah, so it's not like we can shop around and get a quote from a couple different printing companies. Like, this is a specialty service that not many can provide.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's see. So so it's an overall decrease, though, correct? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, by $90.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a little bit. Yep. Just want to make sure I'm reading
No,
that.
it's an increase.
It's an increase.
Yeah, I'm looking, yeah.
The appropriated current year's budget is 63,163. It's going up to 68,160.
Okay. Actually, I'm looking at Joanne making the adjustments live
Yep,
online.
that's exactly what I was doing too.
Yeah, got me going there. I see it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the department's request?
No, this is Kate. I'll make a motion to
All right. Can I have
approve.
a motion then to,
Oh, we're delayed. This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve 040 tax collector in the amount submitted of 68,160.
all right. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries unanimously. Next one, actually, I've already talked about is town council. Budget remains the same. Again, that moved some money from the legal counsel, general counsel line to the labor council in anticipation of the upcoming negotiations. But total budget remains flat the current year to next year.
All right. This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the town council as submitted.
All right, motion has been made to approve town council budget at 39,000. This is line 050. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries unanimously.
All right.
Oh, Bob, I think we lost you. You're frozen and I don't hear anything.
Gotta love Zoom.
Oh,
Oh, you're back.
no, he's gone.
I'm here.
Oh,
We're
There you
dropping
are.
like flies.
Okay. I don't know where the string broke in the connection, but I got the warning that the connection was bad, so I've turned off the cameras. So I don't know how much you heard of my introduction. But line
Didn't hear any of
055,
it.
okay, probably good. Town clerk, like you said, increase in the salary lines. Pretty much other than that, the budget remains the same. So you're seeing a modest increase of $1,100 between current year and requested budget.
This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve 055 town clerk in the amount of 114,900.
All right, motion is on the floor. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
let's see. Oh, let's see, what's next?
Next is planning and zoning. They're looking at significantly increasing their, that is a lot of money, it's $300, but an increase in their conference fees. I have not had a chance to check on this, so I can't address why. And I'm willing to, whatever the two of you'd like to do, the small amount, if we want to approve it tonight, that's fine. If we want more information, I will get it and make sure to have it for our next meeting.
Yeah, let's skip over that. It is a small amount, but you know, it's
This
a
is,
large
yeah,
percentage.
I'm morbidly curious.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So especially with all the Zoom conferencing and everything going on, you know, and that's probably not changing before fall anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if you look back historically, we have not even come close to spending the 200 that was appropriated for this year in previous years. So let me look into
No.
that and I'll come back to it for our next meeting.
All right.
All right, Zoning Board of Appeals. The $110 budget is flat for professional development. Again, and you'll see this in a lot of the professional development lines. Not much has been spent this year because of the pandemic, obviously. So they're just carrying the same budget forward. Any discussion on this?
No, this is Sean. I'll make a motion that we approve the ZBA's budget as presented.
All right. All in favor of approving the line 075 Zoning Board of Appeals for $110, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, motion carries unanimously. And then if we go on to wetlands, we've got the same situation. It's a $100 budget, same as this current year.
This
And
is
I
Kate.
will,
I'll make a motion. I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve line 085 wetlands for the requested amount of $100.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving line 085 wetlands for $100, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None, motion carries unanimously. All right, I suggest, we're still working on the next two lines, central services and insurance and benefits. So I propose that we just go past them for tonight's meeting. Insurance and benefits, just for information of everybody, including the audience here. Quite often, this budget gets approved by Board of Selectmen before we have final figures. I know last year that health insurance costs, for example, went right up to the budget was in discussion by the Board of Finance before figures were finalized. I expect that might be the case, if not for that subline, but some of the ones in here. So for right now, those are estimates and approximations for the requested budget. We'll refine it and we'll bring it up at a future meeting unless there are particular questions, Sean or Kate, you have.
No, I think we just just like last year, we need more information before we try to even tackle it.
Yeah, and this is Kate, and maybe it looks like there's a couple items in central services that we can look at decreasing a little bit just based on historical spending, specifically looking at professional development and equipment for whatever could fall under equipment.
Right.
Yeah. When we discuss that next time, those two are a little bit out of whack there. So.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next one is line 120, economic development.
This is Kate. So I just wanted to clarify quickly. So the EDC part-time 12-12001, that is not intended for like a person or a position. That's actually meant to be more for like an outside consulting fees. So I don't know what the process is to either get a new line item or to rename this, maybe just to have it more aligned with what the intent of the actual budget is for.
Kate, Economic Development Commission, have there been part-time employees with it, or has it always been a consultant outside helpline?
No, what you'll see in 2017 to 2018 and 2018 to 2019, we did have a paid part-time EDC consultant. The position, the person who filled the position couldn't fulfill it anymore, and particularly when Bill Warner started to, town planner Bill Warner, he very much has been serving as the EDC coordinator.
So I
And I'll
guess,
just
Kate,
chime
if
in
we,
too.
we could, I guess if we can figure out a way to rename it, maybe just rename it instead of part-time to EDC consulting fees, something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
Joanne,
wanted to be clear that
Joanne, you want to put a note in right next to the name EDC part-time and put a space and then in parentheses consulting, consultant, and I'll look into whether we need to establish a new line or we can just retitle. I think retitling it is a good option here.
okay. And this is Kate, and I just want to add too, I know it looks, well, on paper, it looks like we haven't expended a lot of our budget, but we do have some expenses that just haven't been submitted yet. And we do have a plan, and because a lot of these expenses end up hitting us in the springtime, like spring going into summer. So we did submit with our budget, like a narrative of the breakdown that we used to come up to this number.
And Kate, just I'm noticing on the 19 and 20 actual expended was a little bit low. Do you have marketing schemes and plans that'll actually cost you, to get close to what you need?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're planning some community, well, and yeah, what happened was we had some community events planned that COVID just kind of took out for us in the spring. And then for this year too, we had budgeted for some community events. So we're really hoping to ramp up for especially 21 and 22. So yeah, so the bulk of that budget is planned for more community type events.
So, all right. Okay.
Social events when we don't have to social distance anymore. We can only dream.
And this is Sean, and there's no increase in this budget. I'll make a motion. We approve the line 120 economic development as submitted.
All right, motion's been made to approve economic development at requested $7,000. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries unanimously.
All right.
All right, land use. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm just going through that. That looks like it's mostly other than these $5,000 or $3,000, where was it down the bottom there? $5,000 Cove brush cut. It looks to be mostly salary-based increases.
That's correct.
Did we get an estimate for the Cove on the brush cut?
That's based on, even though it doesn't show expenditures this year, we had the brush cut in the Cove this year. And that's what that amount is what Bill based his request on. I don't remember what the exact costs were, but if the difference is, Bill posted pictures of it on Facebook before and after, and it's a night and day difference. If we're gonna open up and use the Cove, we are gonna have to do some sort of an annual clearing and maintenance down there, which we just haven't been doing.
Oh, no, I'm not, yeah, I saw that. It looks wonderful, but I just wonder where that 5,000 was an actual estimate. But if you tell me that's pretty much what we spent to do it this year, then that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this is Kate. I think that actually went out to bid this year, didn't it? So
Yes, it
that's
did.
based on a pretty solid number.
Yep.
Okay.
And I personally was happy to see this in here. You know, you never want to keep adding to the budget, but I think that's a very worthwhile expense. This is Kate. I'll make a motion to approve 125 land use in the requested amount of $289,571.
All right, motion's on the floor. Further discussion?
I just want to say the town fought so hard to get the Cove and get the improvements and get it cleaned up. The $5,000 is well spent. I'm all right with it.
Okay, yeah, I'll add to that. The first time I went down to the Cove was a few months ago before the clearing, and I honestly was not impressed. It was a nice natural setting, but I didn't see much of a draw. But once you clean it up like it's been, it's a huge difference, and I can really appreciate more of the beauty of the Cove that way. So, all right, all in favor of approving the land use budget to the requested 289,571, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion carries unanimously. All right, next one is conservation,
There it is.
$2,000 budget that's carried forward, same as last year. Part of it is cost for the Salmon River watershed, and then 1,000 for other conservation activities.
This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the budget for conservation as submitted.
All right, motion's on the floor. Further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, budget carries. All right, contingency, I just want to skip for now. I want to refine that a little bit more and come back. I don't know that the amount will change, but some of the layout on that might.
Okay.
All right. Continuing on, Haddam Volunteer Fire Department. I think about a 5% increase in this. I would highlight the reason, the largest single increase in here is admin personnel and other.
Yeah.
I mean, we can call Sam in to ask about that, but about his budget overall, but that increase is because this year, because of COVID, a number of the firefighters were not able to get their normally scheduled required physicals. So they're gonna have to be made up next year. So that cost has been moved forward into the budget, and that was the bulk of that increase in admin personnel and other.
Okay, so in theory, when we see the end of the year, actual spent out of that line, it should not approach the 45,000. Correct?
Correct. I mean, you can look at the year-to-date expenditure as of the beginning of this month, and it's 11,000. So you're right. It should come in considerably less than the budget at 980.
This is Kate, and I think too, I'd have a question about the small equipment maintenance
Yeah.
supply line, because that's fluctuated a lot over the years.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a lot expended to date, so just curious on how they arrived at the increased number.
Yeah, I think I'd like to have Sam Kinks. I would like to talk to him about that. There's a $46,000 increase over the past 5 years. That's a significant increase.
Okay. We'll ask Sam to come in and we can move on actually to the Haddam Neck budget.
I like that budget. Nice flat.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved some of the dollars within that line. I think honestly, we're gonna be over on our truck maintenance costs this year.
Okay.
So I increased that line. I decreased a couple of others to allow for that. But it's a flat budget.
All right. This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve the Haddam Neck Volunteer Fire Department budget as submitted.
All right. Any further discussion, Kate?
No.
All right. All
Except
in
to
favor,
thank
say aye.
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 Just want to thank
Okay.
whoever is in charge over there, being mindful of the flat budget.
Somebody follows directions, and I will note I abstained on voting on that one. Motion carries 2 with 1 abstention. All right, police budget, excuse me,
Bless you.
not prepared to go forward with this. I've got to get some estimate from state police on their expected costs. And obviously, this is a significant chunk of our budget, so my recommendation at this point is we just table this one and discuss it as soon as I can get some more information from CSP.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. All right, moving on. Animal control. Basically flat, except again for salary increase. Any discussion on this one?
No,
No.
just to say, I think Dawn does a great job. I know I had to call her, and very responsive, very kind. She does a great job.
Yep, she sure does.
Yeah, very conscientious. We're lucky that we've got her.
Yes. This is Kate. I will make a motion to approve 215 animal control, the requested amount of $20,150.
All right, motion is on the floor. Further discussion?
Mm.
All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, emergency management. I'll talk about this, but again, this is one I'd like to check on something a little bit more and come back. Basically, the budget is flat. The only difference is the very last line item is Everbridge. That's the emergency alert system we're using. And I've been quite pleased with. It has it's a very versatile service and an important one for us. Actually, it was one that the town had previously when we were with the Chatham Health District, and have been without one since we moved to CRAD, Connecticut River Area Health District. Cost you see there is actually the full cost for a 1-year license for it, but we split that cost with Killingworth. It's a 50-50 sharing agreement. I just want to look into that a little bit more as to exactly what the best way is to budget for it for the figures, but basically the budget here is flat with that exception. But let me get that information and get back to you. Do you have any other questions on emergency management?
No, it looks good. I mean, they haven't spent that much on their equipment yet this year, so
No.
you know, are they truly anticipating to spend 5,000 extra? Would be my only question.
Okay, fair question.
Still there?
All right, moving on, fire marshal. Again, budget is flat with the exception of the bump in the salaries.
This is Kate. I mean, I think this is about as flat as it's gonna get, so I'll make a motion to approve 225 fire marshal, the requested amount of 21,969.
All right, motion's on the floor. Further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving line 225 fire marshal for $21,969, say aye.
All
Aye.
right.
Aye. And no opposed, that carries unanimously. All right, I've got one other that I can give you firm numbers on and would like to could get approved tonight, and that's the health district fee 418. I'm waiting for Valley Shore for their charges to build in here. Public Works, we wanted to talk to Chris about, and that Public Works line covers pretty much anything in the 300 series. Public Works, buildings, snow and ice removal, engineering, waste disposal. Like I said, the rest needs some more development. I can bring it forward at the next meeting. But since I've got a firm number on the CRAD Health District fees, I would like to bring that up for any discussion and a vote.
That's
Line
line 418. That's no increase at all, correct?
That's correct.
All right. This is Sean. I'll make a motion. We approve line 418 Health District as proposed.
All right. Motion's on the floor. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. There's no aye. There's no opposed. Motion carries unanimously. All right, let's look at the next few lines, not to discuss what they are, but whether we're bringing those people in or not. I just want to make sure I've got the correct notes. Youth and Family Service budget is flat. Do we want to call them in to discuss it?
No, if that's all they're asking, yeah. I think we went up last year on them because they were looking for computer stuff, new computer equipment, if I remember correctly.
I believe you're right.
So if they purchase that, do they anticipate having to purchase more to keep that level of funding would be my question, I guess. So
Right, and we should also at least, you should have available to you the backup material, and we don't have that yet incorporated into this budget. So we'll get that out for review. And we can tentatively schedule them to come in.
yeah, just that's what I do remember because they were concerned that they didn't get budgeted. And
Yep.
So
Yeah, this is Kate, and I think it would be less about their budget request and more just to hear about how their year went, how their expenditures were, and what we might be looking at in the future. Because I know
Okay.
they lost, because they lost a position. Well, they lost a person last year. It was questionable whether that position was getting replaced. So it would be nice just to have an update on how business is going.
yeah.
All right,
And this
Haddam,
is Kate Bob.
Sorry,
We
Kate, go
skipped
ahead.
we skipped over 400, senior and social services. Was that intentional?
Yes, it was. A couple of things
Okay.
in there I want to review before we move forward with it.
Okay.
All right. All right, health district we just approved. Ambulance service, you can see the increase in contractual services. I think Doug should come in and let us talk to us about that. The
Yeah,
Middlesex paramedic charge, that's confirmed again, the same charge this year as last year. It's basically $1 per person in the town. Park
Yeah,
and
it's
Rec-
always good to hear from Doug.
Go ahead, Sean.
So it's always good to hear from Doug just because it is such a significant increase. So
Yeah. And it'd also be good to sort of get a summary from him, as Kate was, similar to what Kate was saying for youth and family services. How's it going? Where do we think we're going from here? Because it's obviously a critical service.
yeah,
HK Park and Rec, we have not actually received their request yet.
now when did your request go out to them?
Late November.
Have they said why they've failed to respond to a selectmen's request?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Obviously, we can't do that.
And this is Kate. I remember we had a pretty lengthy, maybe not lengthy, but I remember we asked them to come in last year. So I think it might be safe to be prepared to ask them to come in again.
Right.
Yes.
Ooh, I just got an email from Jason Lonergan. At 6:30 tonight.
He knows.
Okay.
And he wants to know when the capital plans will be due.
How about his regular yearly budget? How about that?
Real
Yeah.
quick, you guys.
Let's start with small steps.
We got the budget. All right. 3 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right, moving on to the 515 line. Kate, you've already indicated you'd like to have the HK Rec Authority come in to talk to us. Village Park Society, that budget has been flat for years. Do we want to have somebody from them come in?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
think so.
if they have like any type of backing, if that's all they're asking for, that's fine. If they're not going to want any more, then no. But is that truly what they need? I guess. So
Okay.
that's been their request every year, correct?
Yeah, looking back to 17,
Yeah.
18, I mean, it's been flat. It will be, for 5 years if this budget passes as requested.
Well, I guess if they wanted more, they'd let us know.
Yeah. All right, we will not call them in. Should have their backup material. You can do a quick review if need be. Brainerd Memorial Library, even though their budget is flat, that's a significant chunk of change. I think my preference would be to call them in just to discuss what's going on and,
That's supposed to do that.
okay.
Yep. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. All right. River Days are staying flat. Kate, you and I should discuss this a little bit and we can bring it back for the next meeting. Veterans Affairs, again, that budget is flat. but it is also significantly more than it's been for the last few years. So we would like them, would we like them to come in to discuss it?
No, if that wouldn't be bad, just to find out their plans to spend the money. Being a veteran, I have no problem giving them the money. Just like to hear what their plans are.
Sounds fair to me. Historical Society budget is flat. I mean, significant increase from current year's appropriated budget to consider comparing to previous years. Remember, a lot of that expense was the ongoing costs of maintaining the historic documents they do for the town.
Yeah.
But we can certainly ask Lisa Malloy to come in if you would like to get any more information from her.
Well, looks like they did spend their money, so they obviously needed it.
Right. Well, keep in mind on all these organizations, Haddam River Days is separate, but on the other major organizations here, once the budget is approved, that money is, they don't have to justify and come to us with like purchase request dollar for dollar. It's just, okay, you've approved the $5,600 budget and we pay it to them at quarterly or annually or monthly, depending on what their financial arrangements are.
All right. Yeah, so there's a...
I'm sure the Historical Society spent it. I mean, their major fundraiser is the antique show, which, of course, with COVID was canceled.
Yeah.
So anyway, I suggest at this point we go ahead and invite Lisa in to give us an update on what's going on. And
Sounds good.
okay. And the Cemetery Association, again, you can see historically that's been $3,000 for upkeep in some of the various cemeteries we have throughout town. And that's been flat for the last, again, it would be a total of 5 years or more.
And this is Kate. Bob and Sean, I just want to make sure you guys know. It's my understanding, sorry, this goes back to HK Rec Authority. So I'm sure you guys know that their office is that white building where when you first pull into the high school that houses the HK Rec and Youth and Family Services. It's my understanding that I think that building is in somewhat of a state of disrepair, and there's questions about how much longer they'll be able to stay in that building. I don't know about Youth and Family, but I don't think HK Rec like pays any rent or anything. So that's what I know at this point. I'm not sure like what the most current news is, but I hope that either we'll be able to find somewhere to house them or they'll be able to continue to remain there, because if they had to move somewhere and start paying rent, I think it would just absolutely devastate them.
Yeah, I think that's something to explore with them. I just got an email late today giving me a heads up that this was going on, so.
Now, RSD 17 owns that building, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And have no intention of repairing, or?
I believe so. I think it was on their agenda at this week's meeting, and I don't know what transpired at the meeting, but I do know, and it's funny, I guess. I mean, because Youth and Family's been there for about 10 years, at least 10 years, and they were basically
longer than that now.
Yeah, and they were basically told like you guys can stay here until the building falls apart, and they've gotten a pretty good run out of it.
True.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, and the same would go for Youth and Family, excuse me, as well. I'm sure it would just absolutely devastate them if they had to plan on paying rent somewhere. And in my opinion, they're both very valuable services that I would really like to be able to keep.
And I agree with that assessment.
So I think it's, if it's, this is probably a discussion for down the road, but it might be incumbent on us to help them find space in a town-owned building elsewhere. Whether, I have no idea what's going on at HES, what's going on at Battlebrook, or whoever wants to think about leasing it, or the annex or anything like that we can find any type of office space.
Yeah, and I remember too, the bulk of their budget increases from what they presented last year really relates to minimum wage going up.
Yep.
So I think they're definitely in a very tough and tight position right now.
Right.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the most joyous email to read about that. But regardless, any other discussion on budget?
No, just we need to, clean up the few more that are there and talk to some of the representatives.
Right. All right. We'll see about scheduling the reps to come in. Joanne will be in touch with you about schedules for next week. And we'll see about getting the backup data that the outside groups are supposed to be providing. All right. All right, we have covered the agenda for the night. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Sean. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, thanks, Sean. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, everybody. Thank you to Sean, Kate. Thank you to everyone in the audience who joined us tonight. And go ahead, Sean.
Have a good night, and we'll reconvene, I guess, next week at some point.
Yeah, probably a couple meetings next week.